Carl and Brethren here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for short, and it is track by track time. Making a second appearance on the track by track series, it is Dropkick Murphys. This time we're looking at Signed and Sealed in Blood, the 8th studio album by the band, released January 8th, 2013 on the band's own Born and Bred record label. Don't know this album at all, but I do know the songs. And one in particular, I was like, wait, that was on an album because we did it as a reaction. Some random Christmas.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's that song.
Yeah. It was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Admittedly, listening to it in like end of March, April time, didn't quite have the same feel, but you know, it was still a cool song.
That's literally my notes on it.
But then there are other tracks that are familiar. There are some hits. There's one in particular that is a fairly big hit for this band. I think it goes out saying we're both fans of this band in varying degrees, you know, and I don't think that's changed at all off this album for me anyway.
No. If anything, maybe made it more, because I would say I was always a fan of Dropkick Murphys in terms of knowing singles from them, right? You know, I would never, I don't think I ever owned a Dropkick Murphys album. I don't think I would have ever been able to like know all the songs on an album, but I definitely knew the big hitters from different albums. I wouldn't even know what albums those big hitters were on, is the truth. I think it was last year, wasn't it, that we saw them play Slam Dunk Festival, and that's the first time I've ever seen them play live. And I had a really good time. I really, really enjoyed it and had a great time. And from that, I've listened to more of their stuff and enjoyed more of it. And then listening to this album, hearing a lot of songs that some I recognized, some I didn't at all. And I had a good time. So I suppose like over the last couple of years, weirdly, I've probably become more of a Dropkick Murphys fan. But it's a good thing.
Are you at the stage where you think it's a Dropkick Murphys show ticket seller yet?
I would like to go. I would go and see Dropkick Murphys play, as long as there was somebody else on the bill that I also liked. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to go and see Dropkick Murphys with like 5 or 6 sort of punk ska bands I really didn't like at all, or something like that. So I'd like a nice, you know, those sort of fireball sort of shows, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Of
course. Yeah.
You know, I think that would be really, really cool. Like a nice 3-4 sort of band thing with, you know, good fun bands on it. The only problem I'd have is, I find for me, I'm sure you might be the same, that bands like Dropkick Murphys are bands I don't want to be sitting for. I think I want to have a few drinks. I want to be on the floor. It's good, bouncy, fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they're also a band that my daughter particularly loves, and they're also a band that they don't play small venues, right? You know what I mean? I think they're probably they got to be like
Brixton was the last time.
Yeah. So that means that there is seating.
Yeah, and it's pretty good up there.
So yeah, that's true. So unless I can get to the point where I can bring her up there and then shoot off downstairs, but that's probably not going to work just yet.
I say do Dropkick Murphys, Flog and Molly as a joint headliner show with another band, smaller band underneath them, and that'll be a fun thing for me.
But we'll basically recreate the ending of the Slam Dunk. So I'll have Dropkick Murphys and the Interrupters, and then any other.
Nice. All right, we'll keep an eye out for it. Right, we begin this track by track with the opener. The Boys Are Back. And this is a cracking lift you up style track with really nice energy. Love the bagpipes. Always fucking love to hear a bagpipe in it. Very anthemic, bit punky. Yeah, this is a solid start. I was into it.
Yeah, same. Nice energetic start. Good album opener. It's got good tempo. I like the music. I like the simplicity. I really like the tempo change for the It's Been a Long Time Coming section. Fun song, makes you feel positive. Be good live show opener as well. Oh yeah.
Prisoner's Song, a rousing blend of punk rock and Celtic folk touches that is catchy as hell as it goes on. Weirdly, what I end up loving the most about this is the sort of shouting and chanting along vocal sections. They work nice for me. I do love a bit of that if it's done really well. And Dropkick Murphys, other songs have done it very well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say didn't love this one. I didn't have a problem with it, but it wasn't like one of the standout ones for me. You know, thought it's quite heavy on the folk at the intro, which I like a lot, with a catchy beat. Picks up nicely. It's got some really cool kind of scratching riffs. Doesn't really have an awful lot for me in terms of standout moments, but it's short enough to not be a problem. It's fun enough to listen to.
Fair enough. I do think that is a common thing, though. It's like, and I think we found this with the previous album, where you will have those ones you're like, that's a banger, that's catchy, I'd love to hear that live. And then you just have the ones that are like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Rose Tattoo, a very familiar track. The melody is immediately grabbing and the bass enhances it nicely as it goes on. Strong vocals, strong lyrics, which is not something you always hear from me. Strong rhythm. It is a very nice track with a strong chorus too. The rolling drum beat and energetic finale is a nice tone shift too. I do like it. It is familiar, but it's not an overplayed familiarity for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that not always through history, but like in recent years, and probably again due to Slam Dunk, I would put this song down as my favorite Dropkick Murphy song. It's kind of become a bit of a me and my daughter's song to a degree, being called Rose, and
There's the connection.
I've got a tattoo with plenty of things like a rose or her name, so therefore I have a rose tattoo. And when we saw them play at Slam Dunk and they played this song, we had some like really cool special moments, right? So we were with lots of different people, you know, her aunts and stuff like that as well. And also strangers. And they were like, she was having like dance offs there, you know, people were picking her up. And every time they sang the chorus of Rose Tattoo, everyone was pointing at her and she was just really, really special, you know?
I remember that. Oh my God, I remember nothing about Slam Dunk, but I actually remember the pointing at Rose thing.
Yeah. You know, so like for her, like whenever, even like these days, she still talks about that as a memory when like this song comes on, and that's really cool, right? So this song's become very special for me in that personal sort of side of things. But I do also just think it's a really fucking good song. I agree with you on the lyrical content. I love the fact that it's a story and it sort of tells the story. I think when Dropkick Murphys do that, they're at their best and do that sort of story element, which they do quite a bit. When they do it, the songs are better for me. Singing's great, folk elements that drive the verses are great. The way that the drums come in for the second verse and it all starts building up, and that is fantastic. So it's just a very, very catchy, easy to listen to, fun to listen to song.
We're not telling you anything that you don't already know. You've heard this fucking track, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
Burn. Aside from the pace, I found this one quite forgettable. It's nice, it's energetic, but it lacks a hook for me.
Yeah, another fun and high energy track for me. I enjoy the flow of the verses. I like the music and the simple chorus. I really enjoy, for me, the bit that I enjoy the most is there's like an instrumental break with a very, very kind of heavy Celtic kind of folk edge, obviously, to it. So yeah, just another, I mean, I wrote this a lot. It's like, oh, this is a fun song. I like it. It's pretty much my go-to line in this track by track.
It's the best way to describe this band a lot of the time. Although they do have the odd moments, and I think this is one. This is Jimmy Collins' Wake, which is strong country feels. I can vibe to this, and I really enjoy the vocal harmonization. It's a nice and catchy tune, but means nothing to me because I don't like baseball. I don't know baseball. So, do you know what I mean? Like, I have no connection to this. Maybe if you're a big fan of the story in this, you'll get it more.
Yeah, maybe. I struggled for the exact same reasons as you. I didn't know who Jimmy Collins was at first, and I kind of went into it, and then I saw it's called Jimmy Collins' Wake, and then it started off like a slower, more gentle song. So I thought, oh, this is going to be quite a deep and personal one. And then as they sang, I realized it was baseball related, and then I looked up who Jimmy Collins was, and it was
exactly
like, it was from like our fucking era. He's from like 1800s, 1893 or something. I was like, oh Jesus Christ! So I like the rhythm, I like the melodies, I care nothing for the context whatsoever, and therefore by proxy just don't get the song.
Yeah, it's simple as that. It's going to be a personal one for people, I think, more than anything else. And then
if you were alive in the 1800s and you feel really bad about Jimmy Collins, like I'm sure this song means a fucking load to you.
Because then we roll from that into the seasons upon us. And look, you know, we kind of mentioned this at the start. We came across this one a few Christmases ago, and we did really enjoy it. It was a fun reaction video with a very it's a very fun song with a very fun video. And I still like it. It's a really catchy, festive tune. I enjoy the passion and honesty in it, but the word there, people, is festive. It's just this wrong time of the year to listen to it. So I basically got to about halfway through and went, I'm just going to skip this one.
Come back to that one in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same for me in every aspect of it. I was like, oh my god, it's that Christmas song. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Carl remembers it. I was like, of course you will. Yeah. But it is a cool song. It's one of the ones, like I mentioned with Rose Tattoo, where I think the storytelling aspect of it is what makes it really, really cool. Easy to listen to, quite funny. And if it wasn't April, I'd probably be really enjoying it. But it is.
Some families are messed up while others are fine. If you think yours is crazy, well, you should see mine.
So
it's funny. The battle rages on, fast paced with a huge chorus. The tin whistle is a major component of this one, and I find myself nodding my head along to it. Simple as this. I like it.
yeah, same. Nice to see the energy pick back up as well after Jimmy Connors' wake and then the Christmas song. So it's like, oh, good, let's get the energy back up again. Because that's really what I associate with bands like Dropkick Murphys. As much as I do appreciate the little diversions, it's high energy, good fun,
Yeah.
enthusiastic and optimistic music for the most part, So strong riffs and drums again. I mean, it's weird that sometimes, I guess, within all of the more folk-based elements, that you can sometimes, and obviously the vocals, which are quite prominent across, they're not like hushed in the background or anything like that. That you kind of sometimes can almost lose the fact that there's some really cool riffing going on and guitars.
There is, yeah.
And also the drummer's working hard, man, because like you're playing high energy stuff here, he isn't just sitting there sort of like hitting a cymbal every 4 seconds or anything like that. The geezer's getting worked out. So strong riffs and drums throughout this song. I do enjoy the vocals and I love the sort of little drum solo and oh section, which you kind of get quite a few of these across a lot of their songs, like sing along bits for a crowd,
Yeah.
So yeah, for me again, fun, energetic track. So
yeah. Don't Tear Us Apart, a bit rockier with some strong melody. It's another memorable effort, and like a lot of Dropkick Murphys tracks, easy to listen to, even if it's not well-beaten stuff.
Yeah, nice melody in the intro. I like the rhythm. It's got a very full sound, and yeah, like I think like where you were saying the rock thing, and the two vocals in harmony I also quite like as well. Lyrically quite clever and also very, very deep. Quite emotional if you like read along to it, which isn't something I think you maybe naturally go to, when you think of this band. So I think that was really, really cool. So I think it's a decent track with plenty of cool moments.
Although it is interesting that you bring up lyrics there, because I'm going to bring them up here with My Hero, because I think this is got really nice lyrical content and a nice fast pace. However, overall, this one comes and goes without much for me to say about it.
Yeah, I found this one to be pretty boring, actually. Not a lot new or different going on. It's very, very basic, simple riffs, simple beats. Nothing wrong with it, and it has energy. I just didn't really find anything like any real hook or any memorable moment in it that like makes it stand out. And it doesn't help that it's on an album of good songs. Like, there's a lot of good songs in there, so you didn't have to drop your levels too low to suddenly like be like, oh, that's the weak one as a filler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a skipper. That's what it is, through and through. Out on the Town, an interesting tone shift. This one has rockabilly vibes and moves and grooves nicely. I like it.
So get up, and get with the music. Everybody out at sea. So get up, and get with the music. Maggie's got a brand new beat.
Yeah, very old school, isn't it? Like it's got really a kind of old rock and roll vibe. I felt like, sort of thing I might have like heard in the 60s or something like that. It still has some of their vibe in it with some of the Celtic folk music in the chorus and a little bit of the storytelling element. It also does a really weird thing, like near the end of it. It's like just suddenly almost like completely U-turns in tone and becomes like, it doesn't transition and like drop a tone or two. It just suddenly goes, now we're doing something different. And it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, look, it's all right. It's not, but I don't know. I felt like it's weirdly out of character a little bit,
It's an experimental one, to say the least.
Yeah.
Maybe they put that because I think the penultimate track, Out of Our Heads, is the most Dropkick Murphys track maybe that I've ever heard. It doesn't get more Dropkick Murphys than this. It's a catchy sing-along with plenty of energy. If you can picture their sound in your head, this is this track.
Yeah. High energy stuff again, man. Big, catchy folk hooks and nice and simple again. Like, there's it's not a complicated song, which I think also, when you think in Dropkick Murphys, like sometimes while it's probably complicated to do what they're doing, it's not a complicated song to listen to, like, and enjoy. You know, you don't feel like you need to pick it apart or anything like that. You can almost just listen and enjoy. And I do think that's what got a lot of this. It's got like a nice bit of attitude with the vocals, lots of backing shouts. The only thing I don't enjoy with this is that, like, but again, like, not in a like, it's not a mad negative or anything like that. Is that it's mostly just outside of one verse at the beginning, it's just the chorus repeated constantly for the rest of the song. Like, you know, and I found that a bit repetitive after a while. Like, lyrically, it was like, I'll just say something different, anything. Don't say it again. Oh no! And then I scroll down the lyrics, and it's like, oh, they're going to say it another 72 times. Fuck.
Well, we are at the end, folks. It is the finale of End of the Night. Now, this has an intro, and I'm going to say this, and I don't know if anyone's going to get it, let alone you, but the intro reminds me of the song Earth Angel. You know that song? Earth Angel,
yeah.
Earth Angel. Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, yeah.
Yeah,
oh, it is, yeah, of course it is, yeah.
So I really got that vibe from it. Of course, that's obviously not quite the case anymore as it goes on. It's just the intro that I got that feeling. But overall, what we have is a nice melodramatic finale in the Dropkick Murphys style. I find it really smile-inducing as it's catchy. And this is the first one to use this word, but I think it could apply to a lot of Dropkick Murphys music, if not all of it. Friendly. This is what I got from this. I really liked it as a finale.
Yeah, so do I. I also quite like when the band do this style, because they do this in a few, and I think, like, you could probably say, like, Rose Tattoo is similar in style to this, and it's like, I like it in terms of an album structure as well, when you have something that feels a bit bigger and a bit grander, because it's also the longest song in the album and everything like that as well. So, you know, it's an album closer. It feels like an album closer. I really enjoy the storytelling element here. I think it's fantastic lyrically. It's when they're at their best, like in the songs like, I don't know, Rose Tattoo, The Battle Rages On, all these ones that tell sort of stories from the street almost, you know. And a lot of this is about him going to the pub on the corner and not wanting to leave. And, like, do you know what I mean? It's just a really, really cool song. So it's got a big chorus, nice mix of vocals, loads of little, like, instrumental moments within the song. And it just feels like a big ending for a song that would be an epic set closer live, and it's a very, very strong album closer as well. So yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's great.
The second Dropkick Murphys album we've covered in track by track with many positive things to say. I think next time we come to this band way down the line, I think we're going to have to go all the way back to the start, because the two albums we've covered have been at the later point of their career. And I think it'd be really interesting to go back to the very, very start. But for now,
even when they were shit.
Yeah, well, more.
if they were shit.
Yeah, I wonder how they've adapted and changed over time. Were they more punk? Were they more folk in that aspect, and so on? But for now, we have to, of course, do 3 tracks each. I don't think this is particularly difficult, but you can go first with this one.
All right, so for me, The Battle Rages On, End of the Night, and of course, goes without saying, Rose Tattoo.
We have doubled up on 2 out of 3 of them. I also have Rose Tattoo and End of the Night. I do think there are 2, and probably 2 tracks that everyone should check out if they don't really know this band. But I'm going to throw out the third one with a massive asterisk next to it, because I do think it's brilliant, and I think we are short on great Christmas tracks overall. I'm going to throw The Seasons Upon Us, but only when you hit November, December time. End of November into December. That's when you listen to this one, and then you'll enjoy it even more, particularly if you watch the video and so on, because that video resonates with a lot of people, particularly. So that's awesome. Signed and Sealed in Blood, the 8th Dropkick Murphys album. That's our track by track. You got any thoughts and you know what to do? Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?